Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope everybody had a great holiday. Hope everybody's having a great day or a great night wherever you guys are. Today, I do want to start this video off with saying that you can never be too safe. Listen. Sometimes I know that it could seem crazy to, double check, maybe even triple check things before you click them, before you even look at things. Like, as we look at this space right now, nobody can afford to have their crypto at this moment in time to be taken away from them by falling victim to a scam. No one is going to send you 2 times the amount of crypto back if you send them your crypto. There's no XRP giveaways. There's no XRP airdrops. All of this is nonsense. Ripple put out a thing. As the saying goes, it sounds too good to be true. It probably is. We've outlined tips to help you spot crypto giveaway scams, including the recent surge in deepfakes and how to keep you and your funds safe. And listen, I've been talking about this for a while, right? Like, this is a big problem and it's only continuing. For an example, in 2021, there was $2.3 billion worth of losses due to imposter scams. This was a $1.1 billion increase from the prior year. And so far, social media scams have cost consumers $2.7 billion between 2021 and 2023. So at this moment in time, listen, we're now seeing a lot of deepfakes. We're now seeing a lot of these, major giveaways and these scams going around. I want you all to understand that this has only accelerated. Like, we've seen it bad in the past, but it's never been this bad. So please be aware that a lot of this, most of it, 99% of it, is all scams. And again, I'm just gonna reiterate it. It's because it's here. 40% off sale to go get a decent wallet and secure your crypto, protect yourself, protect your wealth. You cannot afford to miss out on securing your crypto and taking custody seriously. Listen, there could not be a better time to go get a decent wallet. $50 off of a biometric wallet, 40% off the original price. And also, if you get the 2-pack, it's $128 off. Hey, listen, I have diversified my cold storage between Ledger, even DCENT, and I'm looking at a few other ones right now, but that's only to make sure that I have certain amounts on certain ledgers and certain decent wallets, because you can never be too safe in that aspect either. But you can get the 2-pack. The 2-pack is solid. You can give a loved one, or you can keep both of them. It does not matter. You can't miss out on this deal. Listen, the original decent wallet is $159 away from the sale. The 2-pack is $190. This is an insane discount. So go get a decent wallet, protect yourself, protect your wealth. Links down in the description below, as well as in the comments below. Outside of this, though, we are now starting to see some very large discussions regarding the Bitcoin ETF. Now, I commented on this yesterday already. Basically, what we are seeing here is Hester Pierce, which is apparently an SEC commissioner. And when I say apparently, I know who she is. I know her past, but I have not seen her do a single thing, if I'm being honest. She loves to talk. She talks all day long, but she does nothing. Now, I commented on this already. If we go over here to my Twitter, I said yesterday, hopefully I could find it pretty quickly. Here we have it. So this is the 34-second long clip of what she's saying. That video was about roughly 10 minutes long. I'll play this clip. But basically what we are seeing here is Justin, SEC commissioner, says there's no reason for us to stand in the way of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Check this out.
We have heard a lot of reporting in another matter that has gotten a lot of attention regarding a spot ETF, that there is ongoing conversations between issuers who have filed some of these applications and individuals at the SEC. And I wonder if you can shed any light on how much you as a commissioner might be involved in that, or really if this is just happening at the lower staff level at the moment.
No, again, I really can't comment on that, but I think I've been very transparent that I've thought for many years now that there is no reason for us to stand in the way of a spot Bitcoin exchange traded product.
So there we have it, right? There's nothing, or there's no reason for us to stand in the way of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Yeah, probably because they already passed a futures Bitcoin ETF. Like, what's waiting so long for the spot? Like, it makes no sense. But also, I even quoted this and I said, Pierce has been talking a big game for over 2.5 years now without doing a single thing. Talk is cheap. Show us some actions. Because she was also talking out regarding about what the SEC was doing with crypto assets and targeting specific projects and things like that. But nothing was done. Again, this is just part of the big show. In my opinion, I like I said, Hester Pierce, we can't take anything that she says seriously because she has done nothing, if I'm being honest. So that's my thought on that. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But regarding the Bitcoin ETF, we know that there has been some traction on this front, which we are going to get to here in a second. But first, I want to actually play you guys a few clips from Thinking Crypto 1, Tony Edwards' show. He had Tom Emmer on. Now, this first one is definitely interesting, but I do have another video as well over here. This one goes in depth on FTX. So check this out.
There are bad actors and good actors in every market, and the things that are not aligning with our laws need to be handled. But the juxtaposition, which we've been talking about for a long time, is that we have Gary Gensler, the SEC, seemingly allowing bad actors like FTX and Celsius to have their way and collapse and hurt the market. And he's attacking good actors. So you have this confusion on his end.
Well, it's more than just confusion, Tony. I mean, you're right. He's had all these bad things happen on his watch because he's not willing to do the oversight that truly is necessary with FTX. He was more interested, in my opinion, in doing a backroom deal to give FTX an inside track to being a crypto exchange in the United States before he realized, or maybe he should have known already, that it was a corrupt business, as old as finance itself, right? A centralized control operation that, they were, it was basically a Ponzi scheme that they were running, and the house of cards finally came down.
So again, a lot of these congressional members have been grilling Gary Gensler and the SEC for a while, yet we never really see any major traction. They have released bills regarding getting, Gary Gensler out of office and things like that. At the end of the day, it's not going to be that easy. Remember, Gary Gensler was appointed by the president, so this is not going to be, all right, let's get him out of office and that's it. No, it's not going to be that easy. But I will say, I think a lot of what we do see with FTX and even Gary Gensler and the SEC, this was all by plan. This was all Gary playing a role because FTX, in my opinion, and I said this multiple times, was planted in this market as an example that the regulators and even Elizabeth Warren, because immediately, not even an hour after FTX imploded, she was already talking about how crypto is a risk. It's unsafe. You need to stay away from it. It's this, that, whatever. And it's all to push stricter regulations and to push their agenda. But also over here, we have a new days coming. This is from RizXRP. This is again with Patrick McHenry, and we have Tom Emmer being brought up. And it's still Tony Edwards' show. And check this out.
Now, a hard question for you, because a lot of people are asking about this. Chairman Patrick McHenry, he did say he has threatened a subpoena against Gary Gensler over FTX documents. Do you have any idea when that subpoena is coming, and how can we rally the rest of the House and folks to push the two crypto bills through the House?
I think two separate questions. I think McHenry is definitely an advocate for the industry. It's an honor for me to have him as our chair. Keep in mind, I had Maxine Waters for the last 4 years, and she was doing nothing to help us advance this industry. Patrick McHenry is a breath of fresh air. When he brings that or issues that subpoena, Tony, I can't tell you, he will make that decision. But it is really important because Gary Gensler has told us that he had no knowledge and he wasn't involved. We already know that as early as March of 2021, he was actively working. He and his staff were working with Sam Bankman. I keep wanting to call him fraud, so I apologize. But Sam Bankman-Fried, they were working with him already in meetings at the SEC. And I do think it's going to be important for us to see exactly what the SEC was doing and what they knew. And I think that's documented in the records that Patrick McHenry will pursue. The second part of the question is, how do we move these bills, these crypto bills through the Congress? I think you're going to see that before the end of the year. I think one or more of them will get to the House floor, and they will pass the House floor, is my prediction, especially the bill that we passed out of the subcommittee on prohibiting a central bank digital currency. There's a lot of Republican support for it, and there's even Democrat support for stopping our federal government from creating what is essentially a Chinese-styled surveillance tool called a central bank digital currency. So I think you'll see that. You may see some market structure legislation come across the floor, and I still haven't ruled out what might happen with some of the stablecoin legislation that has been offered and is in committee.
And there you have it. So again, with these bills, the big thing to me personally on a lot of these bills to get Gary out, I don't think that they're worth noting at all, because by the time that they even make it to the House, maybe even get through the House, I think that we'll probably have a new president by then. And depending on who gets in, I think that that's what's going to determine if Gary stays or goes. But outside of that, don't want to get too political. I do also want to talk to you guys a little bit about the SEC, because I don't think that the SEC matters at this point. So shout out to Anderson. We talked about this in a video yesterday. The SEC is essentially out. We know this. They were not included in the Binance deal. The Treasury and the CFTC joined the DOJ in this Binance deal. So it seems as though the SEC is just, I guess this is just a face card. Everything behind the SEC is what actually matters, which is what we've been saying since day one on how the SEC has no jurisdiction in this market. So to me, it seems like all this is just one big show. But also, outside of this, let's get back to the Bitcoin ETFs. Let's talk about a few things, because we just seen the SEC recently meet with Grayscale and BlackRock over spot Bitcoin ETF listings. This was a big one. So let's look into this. Let's listen closely to this video, and then we will soon wrap things up. But this is the former NYSE president. Money will flood into this industry with a Bitcoin ETF. It's just easy to buy. Bitcoin is a great invention. It is a store of value.
In terms of our involvement.
What would a crypto exchange look like today? Like what would be different about it? Is this just having regulatory oversight and approval? Is that the biggest issue?
Yeah, it's the biggest issue. I mean, most of the legacy exchanges are caught up in criminal investigations, massive civil investigations, and they're in a state of non-compliance. And that's just, look, it isn't going to work. We can all wish. I think we have a libertarian streak, and we can wish that it would work like that, but it just simply does not. And the winning exchanges are going to be trusted, they're going to be compliant, and they're going to support and bolster the digital assets industry. I mean, it is what it is. I can rail against it, but that's the position we're in.
I mean, Bullish was going to be part of this has been kind of a bumpy road to get to where you are right now. How many employees now?
We have approaching 300. It's Bullish.
And a lot in Hong Kong. I mean, it's global. Right?
Yeah, it's global business. We have about 100 plus in Hong Kong. But Bullish, we don't spend a lot of money on marketing. That's why you and others probably don't know too much about it. It's probably the fastest growing crypto exchange. I say probably only because maybe there's one out there I'm not aware of. We're now number 2 or number 3 in spot Ether and Bitcoin, the two bellwethers every day. We're the 4th or 5th largest spot exchange. We're launching futures this month with a fair wind. We need a few things to fall into place, including regulatory approval, but we're going to launch futures. So that business is doing very well. Slow and steady wins the race here, Joe. highly compliant. We have 25 coins, not 7,000. You have to pass a rigorous set of standards.
You know all these people in charge of whether there's a spot ETF. You know them all. They all trust you and they all know you from your prior life. What the hell is happening? Is it something that's going to happen next year? Is it going to be 2025? What's the deal? What's the problem?
I'm not gonna give you a specific date. I guess I'm a little less optimistic of the immediacy of an approval. In other words, like November or even December. The current chairman and the SEC have said that they believe that pretty much everything in crypto, with the exception of Bitcoin, sometimes Ethereum, and possibly stablecoins, are securities, and that securities, at least in the United States, need to trade on a nationally recognized exchange, and they do not today. And I think these two issues at the moment are interwoven. That doesn't mean they can't be decoupled, but I think there's a view that, hey, if these don't trade on an exchange, how do we know that the underlying prices are trustworthy? The thing about Bitcoin that gives me some optimism is everyone acknowledges Bitcoin is not a security, including the regulators. So possibly the Bitcoin ETF does go ahead more quickly, which would be great for the industry, because money will flood into the industry with the Bitcoin ETF. It's just easy to buy. People believe in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be here. Bitcoin's a great invention. It just is. It is a store of value. I know it's volatile. It is a store of value.
Some people think it's a discovery, not an invention. It was already there. It was always there.
I'll buy that. I'll buy that. You've been on Bitcoin.
Of course.
You've been on Bitcoin since the earliest days.
Yeah. And,
so there you guys have it. And, this is one thing to really kind of mention, right? Is that we are on the cusp of just waiting for these ETF approvals. Now, these could be a major sell-off, right? We have to play it strategically. The ETF might, and it could very well be one of the biggest sell-off events. Right? Buy the rumor, sell the news. This is definitely one to watch for, because I still believe that a ton of money will flood into the industry. You got to remember, right? With ETFs, the thing that makes them so lucrative is that it's coming from a trusted source for the typical individual, right? For an example, a lot of people don't know about Coinbase. They don't know who Coinbase is. But when you have a name like, for example, Fidelity or BlackRock, offering a Bitcoin ETF, now it's a little bit more legitimate. And when I say that, I mean it in quotation marks, because we know who BlackRock is. We know who these players are. But the typical individual, the retail investor, the normie investor, if you will, who's just jumping into crypto for the first time, they think that they can trust BlackRock. They think that they could trust these players. So it makes it a lot easier. But also, it's a lot easier to buy. They don't have to go and jump through loopholes. They could buy it maybe possibly off of their banking app, for an example, which would be a huge gateway. But they could also buy it on easier exchanges and things like that. Even, for the most part, like when we started to see major listings on Robinhood, that was a gateway to major adoption, because how many individuals utilize Robinhood? So it's just allowing the normie investors to trust something that's extremely easy to jump into. And that's what these ETFs do. And when we're talking about this entire industry, I've talked about it, 5 to 7 trillion. That is my prediction. That's my opinion on where we will go in the next major bull run. Again, I'd love to be wrong in terms of being too conservative, but 5 to $7 trillion is my overall prediction on where we go to. And remember, an ETF could very well bring $1 trillion in a very fast amount of time. Remember, money market funds have about $6 trillion in them right now, with people betting on a recession. When Bitcoin makes a new all-time high, I'd argue that a portion of that is going to flood into this market just off of FOMO alone. But then when we look at XRP, XRP right now, it's trading at about $32.8 billion. Ethereum is trading at almost $250 billion. In my opinion, XRP should right now be sitting anywhere between $100 to $200 billion in market cap, but it's not. Where I think XRP really starts to rise drastically is when we do get the ETFs. because I think that that's where a lot of money will trickle into a lot of these other altcoins, and the top 10 will see most of that money, in my opinion. But then it will start to flood out. But also beyond that, utility, right? We're starting to see the market mature a little bit more. With maturity also comes utility. That's where utility really kind of starts to be fully focused on. So that's what I'm waiting on right now. That's what I'm focused on right now. Obviously, listen, as we look at the market currently, if we're talking about $5 to $7 trillion, that's why I say, like, you can't afford to lose your crypto to these scams. So make sure that you are being vigilant. But also beyond that, I want to see some movement on the regulatory side of things. There's probably a lot going on behind the scenes, which I've said multiple times. Like, you can't look to the SEC, right? The only thing that we are really kind of looking at with the SEC is the ETF approvals, which BlackRock probably gets the green light before Grayscale or any other player. It would be crazy to see that, simply because it shouldn't be like that. But if it does happen, it shows that the SEC favors the incumbents over the actual players in the space, like Grayscale, for example. So I'm definitely interested to seeing what happens on that. In my opinion, XRP will see a large portion of that money. Like I said, $5 to $7 trillion is my overall prediction in this next bull run. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.